The Democrats have traditionally been concerned about losing jobs, outsourcing jobs, and things of that sort. So in that sense, that concern still holds. On the other hand, he has bigger items on his plate. Right now, he's got to revive jobs through the stimulus package. He also has to ensure that the companies do well on their own. And for companies to do well, outsourcing, lowering costs is as much a part of the package as anything else. So I don't see him really messing around with that. What I would see is Indian IT sector would send more people onshore, things of that sort. It's gotten a little more complex because of some recent developments in the Indian IT sector. But basically, I don't anticipate that he would actually interfere at that level. Okay, he's got bigger agendas to work on. Years ago, when I first went to the US, getting a visa was supposed to be the biggest challenge. Over the years, I've learned that if the United States thinks that you can be useful to that country, they'll let you in, they'll rope you in, it's like a black hole, they'll suck you in and never let you go. Basically, this is an economy that has thrived on talent from the rest of the world, in addition to homegrown talent. So as long as, and it's a wonderful environment, it's innovative, it's creative, adds value like you would never imagine compared to most other economies. And so in that sense, I don't think American public policy is ever going to turn that situation around. They're going to welcome good talent from anywhere else because H-1Bs, that means opening doors to good brain power from anywhere. So I don't anticipate any change. Area is a minefield. If you talk about the environmental angle, Obama has been talking the Al Gore language. Okay, so in some sense, on the international stage, we should see movement towards alternative fuels and things like that. But biofuels are not necessarily the right answer in the sense of using huge amounts of fossil fuel or the fossil fuel derived fertilizer, whatever else, to crops that turn into ethanol and things of that sort. It's got to be, I think Obama's as much interested in other kinds of renewable energy sources. And so this whole story has to be examined in more detail to see which choices would make what kind of impact. But when it comes to agricultural subsidies, the history of American policy has been such that you don't see any president really making any changes in terms of the massive subsidies that go into that sector. That's because of the structure of the US Senate. About 20-30 senators are elected from farmland states in the Midwest and elsewhere. They don't have many people there. Agriculture doesn't support that much of a population. But agricultural neighborhoods elect a lot of senators whose job it is to ensure that American agriculture is protected. And so I don't see any major change on that front. This has been one of the reasons why Doha and others have not really been able to achieve consensus, a viable solution. I see a problem continuing into the future. Ultimately, the US is all about its own national interest, about its own economic growth. Even in this world of multinational companies that really know no allegiance to any country or nation or border or anything like that, even in this era, American foreign policy would be oriented towards ensuring that their economy keeps humming. If India and China and the BRIC economies are where the growth is happening at a very rapid rate, then you will see investment coming in or coming back. Okay, the reason why we've seen a downturn in the Indian, the stock market's lost half its value, partly because they've messed up back home. Wall Street's messed up, and so they've taken resources out of here to pay back, whatever, to settle their debts out there. The Satyam fiasco within the Indian context is something that they've been dealing with, right? I mean, they had Enron. They have had enough other, the subprime crisis, all kinds of other crises which shake the confidence of people in the private sector. They've had that experience there also. But that doesn't mean that it can't be tackled. Better regulation, better methods of corporate governance, all those things can change things. And the Indian IT sector traditionally has been stellar in terms of its corporate governance practices. So I don't really see this aberration, the Satyam crisis, as really affecting us in a bad way. I actually see it as a wake-up call that we've got to make sure that we are much better at handling, at running our own business sector. And I think that's what's going to come through. Okay, I don't see Obama doing anything that would come in the way of more investments into the Indian market, because that would be good for American companies.